Welcome to our continuing series, Interviews with Aurovilians. This is our third interview today with Kireet. We welcome him back. And we had one previously in Gaia's garden a long time back. So now we're going into greater depth with his life experience. I wanted to ask you a bit about your experiences with Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Your reading, your progress.
Yeah, the first time I read Sri Aurobindo was in the 60s in the Netherlands. I started getting interested in Hatha Yoga, and somehow it was my mother read in a magazine, a women's magazine, a small article about yoga, and she read it aloud to me, and I felt very much acquainted to it. I felt recognizing it. I said, yeah, that's true. That time I was a member of a book club, and I searched in the book club if I could find a book about yoga. I found a book, Do Self Yoga, from James Haywood, which I bought, and I started practicing the Hatha Yoga.
How old were you then?
I think 17.
Oh.
Yeah. And I just used it initially as a way to improve my physical body, because I was stiff, and I want to become a sport teacher at that time. So I thought, when I improve my physical body, at that time they were very idealistic. You never get ill when you do that, and all these things. And yeah, it was very interesting. When I told my friends that, I was punished immediately. And a week later, they were standing along my bed, and they said, "Oh, you said you." Very important lessons, makes you humble. And anyhow, I got very severe back problems, so I couldn't practice Hatha Yoga for a year. But then I discovered more the spiritual part of it, the second part of the book, and that's why I started reading several other yoga books. I remember I was impressed by a lady who had made a book called A Year with the Yogis, and for the rest I remember a little bit that I also had read about Sri Aurobindo, but that was too difficult for me. So anyhow, I came to India to learn more about yoga. So when I read Ruth's book about Sri Aurobindo and Auroville, it really stayed with me, and that was the reason why I came here. And then Ruth gave me further instruction. He said, you read the basis of yoga, you read Satprem, the Adventure of Consciousness. That was the first homework.
But it was the book that most of us read in the West.
Yes. And then it was later, when I came back in Holland, I tried to read The Life Divine and all that, but it was mostly Mother first who made Sri Aurobindo's yoga more accessible and also very practical with her instructions. Yeah, and then slowly you get more used to the writing of Sri Aurobindo, so you come into it. I became a yoga teacher in Holland, so I read and studied also many other yogis, Vivekananda and others. But it was always Sri Aurobindo. I felt he is the most to offer, the most rich, and my father, as the old yogis were always already satisfied if you could neglect your body and go out of it. The best thing actually from Sri Aurobindo and the Mother was, here on earth you have to do it. And of course we fail them. I do at least. As far as you can say you fail them, because from a divine point of view I think we never fail. It is a long evolution, and we are probably very impatient and we want to see the realization very quickly. But then knowing what we have in our body and in our subconscious, yeah, that is a huge thing. So I'm already happy that I am just very happy every day, just being in Oroville, just yeah, and having deep experiences in meditations. I can't say I have, but when I sit still, also I'm happy, and I don't sit for hours, but yeah.
Tell us about some of the people you have known more intimately as friends or co-workers.
Well, it's you, of course, who made the most impression, Ruud and you, that time when I came in '72. That stayed with me, and then of course I was in the Netherlands, and then it is Oroville Today and other magazines who still make me see, oh, Oroville is still alive, still trying to go on, and these articles I read by the people like Ellen and Karel, and I took over when Karel went to Oroville. I took over his role as secretary, and then I thought, oh, might that be the next step up to Oroville? Somehow that always stayed with me, but I never thought I would come to Oroville. While I was married, of course, because I made a choice to be with my family in the Netherlands. But somehow it was made possible that I came, and yeah. Others I met, I remember Big Pete. He introduced me to other books, like
he was Dutch, huh?
Yeah, like Thoreau, Walden.
Yes.
So when you put me in the pump house, I felt like I was
Walden.
I was in
It was Walden, yes.
And Tolkien, yeah, that was another things that the positive things from Gandalf. Yeah. Who I met, of course, Ellen Grangala. I met that time, was not so well. Vikas, I remember.
Vikas, yes.
I saw him last
He was
year.
From England.
Yes. I had long talks with Vikas. He was very enthusiastic, very nice to talk to. He didn't remember me, but that's natural. I was only a couple of months here at that time. Yeah, then many people I met that time, which slowly I start forgetting, of course. They were not here when I came in '96. We met only just a couple of years later again when you came. So the first one I start working here with was Michael Mason. He told me later that also he started at the Mater Mundi nursery with you. And he became steward of Samridi forest. Now his daughter does it.
He's passed away now?
He passed away. Yeah. Jaap. Jaap I met in first time in '76 when he was in Kottekerai with Lisbeth in a mud hut. Then I met Big Pete and Judith, who were together in Angira's garden, and he showed me that time also one of the first avocado trees. So yeah, and then actually doing the work in the canyons, I was just on my own. Right? People hardly realized what I was doing because you don't meet so many people in the canyon to go down. Later, when I did the excavating with the JCB, then it is more that I got invited by people like Aviram, Barent, Klaus' son, Ananda, where I'm now working at the moment in Nine Palms. With B in the international zone. International zone is a kind of no man's land. Still, you have to have the permission from the Lavenier, and I consider them B as the coordinator in the international zone. Actually, tomorrow I have to start there. I didn't mention it to them. I asked Lavenier permission. I'm allowed to clean it out, but not make it bigger.
B is coming today at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
For his 7th and 8th interviews.
Wow, wow. Yeah.
He's a fountain of knowledge. He's
Yes,
encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. That is also nice, because he gives also the talks at Matri Mandir to the guests.
Yes.
And people like him, yeah, they have a skill, they are.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I just play with water and sand.
How do you see the progress of Oroville?
Difficult, very difficult. It's still growing, it goes on. People nowadays, they come for all different kind of reasons. Of course, in 72 it was Mother who was the one who attracted the people. Now people come to Oroville because maybe some still know about Sri Aurobindo and they are interested in the spiritual community, but others don't know. They come maybe for ecological reasons, they come maybe for educational reasons, because the schools in Oroville do very well. So it attracts many families who have children and they just wanted to have their children educated here.
Oh.
So I don't know how it will go. It is Gaia recently, she had and again tomorrow new Koreans, and then they come and she talks about the dream, and that is a very nice interaction. And then some are Christian and they refer to their beliefs they had there, but they're open and said, yeah, it is like this. So they recognize certain things. So from what I hear from her, and that is of course direct information, I felt, that's positive. People come really positive for Oroville, for growth, inner growth. And I feel always Oroville reflects the world. I always think, and at the moment the world is, how to say, Trump consciousness. I felt at the moment it is again in this spiral with not so much consciousness and a lot. On the other hand, we live in a time, statistic-wise, it's the best time in the world we ever had. There is the most progress materially, less poverty. On the other hand, we go with too much pollution, too much waste. India still doesn't know how to tackle the waste properly. And the water, of course, is also a big problem, not in our bioregion only. There are much worse places in India. So we are still going, I feel, through very difficult times. And on the other hand, you see light points. And still I'm very optimistic and positive, because it is here what counts. And it's still, I'm still feel very happy.
Any experience with the children of Oroville?
Yeah, beautiful. I did my first work also in Matrimony Gardens was I had equipment to climb in the trees, go high up and take the parasites out and dead branches and so on. But after my back operation, I couldn't do that. So I gave that away to Juan and Xavier
Yeah.
that time. But
He's no longer there, is he?
no,
He
but
was wonderful.
yes.
We were good friends.
Yes,
He
yes.
helped me greatly.
Yeah. I was very happy and very nice to work with him. But now, like his son and other Aurovilians, like my neighbor Anadi and Jonas, they have a unit called tree care.
Yes.
So now, if I see, oh, the branches are coming too close to the roof or it has parasites, I ask them, they come. They are wonderful. They discuss together what has to be done, how to be done. They question each other. Then they go in. They don't drop it. They tie the branches very carefully with ropes. Very carefully. They let it down so that my plants and the hibiscus under don't get damaged. And then they cut it in pieces. And yeah.
When the service tree took that very bad hit in the cyclone, they came to work on the service tree with me.
Very nice.
And it was so harmonious
Yeah.
and so beautiful. Everything was lowered. Nothing was damaged.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I wouldn't have dared to ask them, but I heard about it. And,
Juan trained them all, as
Yeah.
I understand. He
Yeah.
trained
Yeah,
the group.
yeah. And they do very well, so this is my direct experience with some Orville kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that makes me hopeful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do most of your, you do the cooking at Gaia's Garden? You don't go out for Solar Kitchen? Or
No, Gaia cooks sometimes, but also we go to Roma's Kitchen, which is close by.
Ah,
We have a friend, Jan Peter, and then once a week we go to Garden Cafe, for instance. So I have several places. Like if I work in international zone, I will have my lunch in visitor center because I have to supervise. There are several nice places. Sometimes we went to Solar Kitchen, but that is so big. I like more a place where there are just
where
not too
is
many people.
I know Roma is on the main road, but yes, Roma's also...
Roma is an Ormodel. So
An
from
Ormodel,
the
right.
bakery, you
Yes,
go
right.
in, and that is Roma's Kitchen.
By Oralek?
Yeah, Orolek you can also have lunch. It's
Yes,
also nice.
Yes.
Orolek, Roma's Kitchen in our. You have now bread and chocolate on the road. Of course, you have a new creation, or no, it had Tanto now. I don't come there so often, but there.
I think Mark also has a coffee place.
Mark, there you have coffee
Yeah.
and cake.
Yeah.
Oh, there are now so many places, good places where you can have food in Oroville.
When we had nothing in the 70s.
Oh my God!
Oh.
Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't so bad because that was in Matrimondier there was that kitchen,
Yeah.
and well, Sadhana she did, and well,
As best they could.
yeah,
As
yeah.
best they could, yes. Yes. How about the little children? Did they come to Gaia's Garden at all?
Well, we had last week some small children, but these are then the Koreans who brought their children,
Ah,
and they didn't go yet to the kindergarten or the creche, so they had to bring them. Of course, with our guests, we have regularly also small children, but these are, of course, people from abroad or from India. At the moment, again, we have people from Delhi. They like Oroville very much, and they are considering maybe to come here and have their daughter going to school here. Yeah.
Did you get to know Meenakshi well, or Tuan?
Yeah. Of course, Meenakshi I knew very well because of the years I did the interaction with my school and her school. And,
Yes.
and when I was a newcomer, I went to the school to teach English to a certain group of Tamil children.
Oh.
And most of them became Orovillian. So I see them still, but of course they are
Yeah.
they're adults, and
Yeah.
parents themselves.
So, at Gaia's Garden, you welcome photographers, I've noticed.
Always.
Always,
If
huh?
people interested in the garden, they're most welcome. Yeah. Alina brought somebody recently.
Gary.
Yeah, Gary stays with us, but
He stays with you.
he stays with us. He comes every year.
He asked me for some music, which I'll give him tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Gary is one of our regular guests who comes for
Mhm.
a couple of months.
And Alina brought who?
Yeah. What was his name? She said, "Can I bring somebody?" And he was. He came one day, and then again the next day he came. He said, "I'm not finished yet," so he was making a lot of photos. It was an Indian name. It was not Amrit. It was. Yeah, people want to make photos. Why not?
Exactly. Surely. In closing, I'd like to ask you about whether Mother and Sri Aurobindo are widely taught in Oroville, or are there lectures or seminars?
Yeah, Savitri Bhavan.
Savitri Bhavan.
I think that's
Mostly
the
there, I think,
mostly it happens there.
Yeah.
So people who want to have the guidance, actually, I remember you were sitting in the nursery or on a Sunday and doing Savitri.
You remember that?
Yes.
That's very
And-
interesting. You're
and
the
when-
only one who tells me that.
Yeah.
Mother gave me that work
Yeah.
to read it.
Yeah.
I did
And
for
you,
10 years.
and of course, with your voice and your presentation was beautiful. And then when I came in '96, Savitri Bhavan was not there, but we went, Sradavan and Helmut and Franz and some others and me. We were sitting there just on the ground on Sunday, and they were doing it. Sradavan was mostly reading.
Savitri.
Yeah.
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 Wonderful.
When I was a newcomer.
Do you still read it?
Not regularly.
Not regularly.
No, I had the time that I did. I got also the Dutch one, so I put the Dutch and the English together. At the moment, I have to pick it up again.
Gerard, who recently passed away, has created a beautiful book.
Yeah.
The French.
The French
and
one,
the
yeah.
English. You've seen the book.
No, I haven't
it's
seen it. I
very
heard about
beautiful.
it.
It's very beautiful. So, well, it's been wonderful to have you, and many people will be touched by your experiences, and let us hope that we can work to harvest all the rainwater in Oroville.
Yeah.
I think that still needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
Depends on the rains, eh? So as I said, we have really to prepare for these extra bonuses that we don't lose them.
and also reduction of waste.
Yeah.
I understand there are teams out there who already are doing things, from
Yeah.
B has told us. Yes.
Yeah.
Greenbelt, you must have some experiences of the Greenbelt.
Of course, I'm working in the Greenbelt
Yeah.
nowadays. Nowadays, I am not so much. Recently, I made a new pond in Samridi, Greenbelt. Of course, now I am in Nine Palms.
How do you make the ponds? What do you use to line them?
It is for percolation. So
Oh, it's for percolation.
it is for percolation. You want to let it go down as fast as possible. If you come to the visitor center, you will see still a pond which has water because it has a very thick layer of Manivali clay under. But if it has only the laterite, year after year the percolation improves and goes faster and faster. It's a good thing because then you have no evaporation. Of course, you never know where it exactly goes,
Yeah.
but at least you hope it will recharge
But it is
something
going
somehow.
into the
Yeah.
earth, yes.
And I think it is better to have more bigger water bodies, that a lot of water goes down at the same place than spreading it out too much. Because if you spread out a little bit of water, it gets diluted. While if you let a lot of water go down on one place, it might reach the aquifer better and recharge better.
So how do you mean bigger? You mean
More volume.
more volume?
So like
Ah,
last year,
yes.
I've been trying to increase the volume of Orodam. Of course, this year it was not full and overflowing because I raised also the dam and the spillway. But if you get this rain again like 5 years ago, it will be full. International zone was full and overflowing after 110 millimeter in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So you don't want to lose that. You want to keep that and recharge on the spot.
Do you also deepen? Does
Yeah.
that help to deepen?
Yeah, but as I said, in the international zone, I'm not allowed to make it bigger now.
Right.
Well, actually, and I talked with Jill and others, it would be good if that pond, we make it 3 times larger, so you have more capacity, and also the percolation will go better. But that, of course, you have to go also much deeper to remove the Manavali clay. And we have to see how thick that layer is, of course. Yeah. Now tomorrow I will start there again, and then as there is still water, and then I cannot work, but at least I will make some scoops, take out, so that it can percolate on the sides. Then I do first the other work, and then I hope when I'm finished with the other ponds, that dawn is dry and I can clean it out also. Last year I did, when was it? I think it was September, October, and it was just dry. I worked for 1-2 days, and then the rain came, and again it was filled up, and I couldn't not have worked again there. So it was just the right time. Now I don't want to wait too long till it is dry, so I try to stimulate the percolation a bit by digging some holes.
Do you use backhoe, or do you use the front buckets, or
It has
both?
It has both. It has some for pushing, the back one, and of course the digging one. It is the JCB. It is a very
Yeah, it's
simple,
been around quite a while. Yes, I know,
simple
yeah.
Indian one. And once I worked with the big one from in Bomiapalayam from Harvest, but it is more expensive. But as it was a big dam that time and it was available and I could keep it on the spot, it was okay. But in general, I can do a lot with the small machine. Yeah.
Kireet, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.